You were right in your assessment of the fight. I mean, Adashev was getting out in front. He was landing the combinations. He was making Osbourne's job a little more difficult. And Osbourne said something in the post-fight presser that was a little interesting to me. And he said, Adashev is used to seeing clean technical combinations. He's a professional kickboxer after all, or at least he once was in his past life. I need to do something wacky, something kind of you're not ready for. And this is actually something that I've been talking to a couple of my jiu-jitsu buddies about, is that when you're fighting somebody and they're not technically trained, right? You have the young brawler who just comes and throws haymakers from weird angles. Sometimes you will legitimately get caught, not because you don't know how to defend yourself, but because you haven't been technically trained to defend a weird shot from a weird unorthodox angle that nobody throws, right? So imagine Ngannou when he fought Rosenstruck and he's throwing arm up here, arm over here, swinging over here. Jairzinho got out the way of everything, and then that last one just boop, and that was it. So for an Ode Osbourne who threw an interesting kind of like counter check over the top, overhand right, check hook right, and just put it on the button for Adashev. And those follow-up shots definitely did not help the brain cells of an Adashev, but definitely he used the precision to generate the knockout. But like you said, AJ, what if you missed? Adashev was looking good, bro. Adashev was looking good, but now he is 4-4 in his UFC career. Not boding well for my man, but there is promise here for him, right? Like, he's looking good until he's not. What do you make of this?
Man, he was looking great until he was, and I was feeling another fight where I was feeling great about it. Walking in, Adashev's looking good, things are going, and then Osbourne, man. I mean, what can you do in a minute? You know what I'm saying? Apparently, if you're Ode Osbourne, put somebody to absolute sleep, because this dude had the craziest. And I think you were talking about the Ode Osbourne talking about how it was. Or how the knockout was, excuse me, some little more words here, but he threw a perfect, like a jab where he saw Adashev slip. He read that. He's like, oh, okay, he's going to slip that way. I'm going to throw this wacky ass right hook as I'm stepping back. Doesn't even need power. Just puts it right on the button. Ode Osbourne, man, super impressive that he can see that in the moment and land something like that on an Adashev who, like you said, used to be a professional kickboxer, now one of the premier strikers in the 125-pound division, but still, Ode, man, coming back and seeing that stuff. He knows, when you're that technical, there's a little bit of holes. There's holes in everyone's game, man. Rough for Adashev to see where he's going to go from here, specifically because it's 35, or like he's ranked number 35 in Tapology. What are you going to do? Not many people. You're a very dangerous fighter, so not many people want to fight you. Yeah. You're probably going to get matched up with a lot of grapplers soon. But, man, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of the fight?
Well, I think that it speaks to Ode Osbourne's record, man. 9 of his 11 fights, or his 11 wins, have ended in a finish. 7 of those fights have ended in the first round. So he's back to his Ode Osbourne ways, man. This is what he does. It's not a surprise that he's doing this. What's surprising to me is that I feel like inevitably that counter style is only going to work for so long until you're going to run into somebody who's going to have such an off-beat, off-rhythm game that you're not going to be able to set up your counters. And next thing you're going to know it's going to be round 3, and you're like, oh, fuck, what happened, man? I'm behind 2 rounds. I need to finish them now. Now I need to go on the offensive. So I think counter-striking is beautiful, but only to a degree. This was just the perfect matchup for it. I think Adashev was tailored. This was just a tailor-made matchup for a knockout. Somebody was going to sleep, whether it was Adashev being on the offensive or Ode Osbourne being on the back foot, offensive with the counters. Either way, I think Adashev still has promise, brother. I don't think that he should get cut, but I understand if he does get cut because he's losing these fights pretty convincingly. And listen, getting knocked out, and let me see, his last 5 fights, he get knocked out against Osbourne. He got that big win over Ryan Benoit, who is no longer in the game. Finished by Tyson Nam, and then lost to Sumaderji, right? So it's been difficult matchups for him, and they've all been bangers. So interesting to see where he goes, but there's one thing for sure is that Ode Osbourne, like I said, he's back to doing Ode Osbourne things, and that's what you'd love to see.